We move from Europe now to the motherland of Africa. And in Africa, we come to a country called Ghana, where I come from or where I hail from. And one of the exciting things is that most may not know, but in Ghana, we've been in the film industry, or the Ghana film industry have been in existence for close to a century. And but with time, it's had this up and down from the golden era of cinema in perhaps the 60s, and when I mean even prior to the 60s, when the Ghana film I'm blanking out on the name, but the colonial masters, they set up the Ghana Film Colony way before independence, and since then it has continued to then. Perhaps it may even date back to the 30s. So that is quite an interesting time that we've seen. But all along, there's been a number of productions that have been made. Some have been successful, others have not. But one of the major issues plaguing the film industry have been funding, and it looks like finally a government has heeded a call to the artisans or the filmmakers who have been calling on this to happen. So it is indeed exciting to see. And there is a breakdown. Let me just provide a breakdown as to what this funding would entail, or would be, or has to be used for. Let me put it that way. So let me bring it up. And so there on your screen, let me take out this graphics and the image so that we can delve into it properly. So looking on your screen, we have, yeah, so on your screen, we have the Ghana Film Fund, which is slated for 2020. Film industry is receiving attention from governments or authorities in the country. And these are things that stakeholders in the film industry have been crying for quite some time. And finally, we are receiving attention. And I'm happy for this because for quite a long time, there's been call for this to happen. Now, there is a difference between having this film fund um, implement, I mean, put in place. And then the implementation is also another thing altogether. And it's something we can't tell for sure until finally that becomes a reality. So we would indeed be looking at all this happening with keen attention to see how it's going to be made manifested. So I think one of the key things that a lot of film industry stakeholders are looking at is whether this is going to be implemented fairly and with clarity, with such transparency that everybody will feel justified when the right people are selected for this film fund or for the use of the film fund. So that is something that a lot are calling on. Perhaps they may have to put in place an auditing team to prove that every single CD or PESWA was used rightly. And that is something that would perhaps boost the trust of the entire film industry in government, and to be specific, the National Film Authority. But all in all, this indeed is the right direction that they have started. And I'm hoping that they do not stop there. I'm hoping that the NFA would lobby the private sector to invest even more than just what the government has given. So that is what I'm hoping for, that the private sector would be persuaded or convinced to put in enough money. Now that government has taken this initiative, I'm sure investor confidence will be a little restored to be able to participate in the film industry as a whole. So this particular film fund is for the entirety of the Black Star Films. That is the entire Ghana film industry. So regardless of whatever sect of small film industries within the country, every single one of them is entitled to it once you can justify why you need a particular a chunk of the cake. Once you can justify, I'm sure the leadership at the National Film Authority will be more than willing to shell out a decent amount to help support whatever film projects that you may have. So, talking to my Ghanaian film fans, film crew, or film colleagues, finally we have our voices for a better attention to the film industry have been heard. And this indeed is great. So let's lend our support and let's make sure we put out the best foot forward to let the world know that we have a thriving, or if not even thriving, we have an existing film industry that is capable of competing on the world scale in terms of production value, in terms of distribution, promotion, and the whole gamut of film business right from the continent of Africa. So indeed, it is quite exciting, and I'm happy about this particular development. Let me know what you think. I know a number of people might be a little skeptical as to whether this may indeed translate into what we are all hoping for. But whatever the case may be, leave your thoughts in the comment section, because this dialogue should not cease. And I'm sure this dialogue will continue till the end of 2026, where perhaps the National Film Authority would be given a breakdown as to the use of the money. I don't know whether they will do that or not, but I think ideally, being the custodian of this fund, I'm sure at the end of it all, they would have to give an account as to how this was managed. And that indeed would be exciting when finally we begin to see the good result of it if managed well. So let me know your thoughts by putting all your worries or your concern or your hopes or your excitement in the comment section below.